On May 10th of last year.
So as we stand, the count is currently 1-0. And that one just went in for the second ball being a 2-0 count at the top of the first, with GCU having one runner on first. Reed being at bat, that one was called for a strike, now being a 2-1 count.
Reed last night 1 for 3. She got the first hit for GCU last night and then struck out in her next 2 at-bats. So Jaden Reed getting back to the plate here, looking to get something going with Cantillo standing on first base.
Ball was down and low, looked like Reed was going to a bunt. Count is now 2-2 with Reed at bat once again. Ball low and to the outside. Reed now has a full count of 3-2.
GCU did this first couple of batters last night, working the counts, going deep into the few counts, and that's how they were able to load the bases with a couple of walks and a hit by pitch in that first inning against Stanford last night.
Yeah, you mentioned Kyle. Lopes left 6 batters. Ball is fouled to the third baseline by Reed, which looked like a nice hit if it would have stayed fair. You mentioned the Lopes leaving 6 players on base, unable to score last night. We start again with someone on first. I believe Cantillo is on first. And then Reed still at bat. Ball was bobbled by the pitcher, and both runners will be safe at second and first. So we now have runners at second and first with no outs.
Nicely done by Jaden Reed to knock that one right back up the middle and then beat out the throw after the pitcher was able to regain possession. That's Donaldson on the mound for Weber State.
Yeah, Donaldson bobbled that pitch on the ground, which was able to allow Reed to get back to first and be safe.
As Kaylee Hollins steps in. Nice to see her back in the lineup here tonight after taking a big hit at the plate last night. She was able to finish the game.
Kaylee Hollins hits it. Oh, with it. Safe at third with a great play, bobbled by the third baseman, received by the shortstop to take it back to the bag. But the Lopes now have the bases loaded with nobody out.
And you see one more look at that. Good effort.
Yeah, that was
by Faith Ho there at short, trying to dive and get to the bag before Cantillo could, unsuccessfully. So the Lopes load the bases with nobody out here in the top of the first inning, as they are going to be the visitors here in game one of their doubleheader tonight. As this is game number 3 today here at the GCU Softball Stadium at the GCU Kickoff Tournament. Weber State opened up the day against New Mexico before they were able to win that one 4-1, and then Stanford just walked off New Mexico right before us, which is why we came on a little bit late. And a nice comeback from Stanford, down 5-0, then went down 6-4, and then won it 7-6, excuse me, in the bottom half of the 7th inning with 2 outs. So good job from Stanford to come back in that one, and the Lopes will face Stanford right after this game.
Yep, and that pitch to Bishop was down low. So it's now 1-0 with the bases loaded and nobody out still here in the top of the first. And that was over the plate for a strike, so the count now goes to 1-1. Yeah, as you mentioned, Kyle, Stanford and New Mexico having that game before us. Stanford having an amazing play down at the bottom of the 7th to end that game in a walk-off fashion. And they will be the Lopes opponent after this game finishes here. Oh, that ball was in and hit, and Cantillo is out at the plate. The Lopes still have the bases loaded now with 1 out.
Looked like a bit of a check swing from Lily Bishop right there, unable to get good contact with that one, but she does reach first base successfully after Cantillo was thrown out at the plate. So that's the first out of the inning for GCU. Bases are still loaded. Infield playing quite shallow as they're going to try and cut that run down at home if possible. But Savannah Torville still looking for her first hit of the season, and she's a very dangerous hitter.
Yeah, and if Torville has that, there's a great opening right there in center, that if she can hit that in, it would be a great way for the Lopes to score and get their first points of the season so far tonight. And count is 1-0 to Torville. And Torville nags that ball to 1 run will score, and the bases are still loaded for the Lopes with still only having 1 away. It's now 1-0 for the Lopes.
Third baseman number 8, Taylor Olson.
With Taylor Olson coming up to bat for the Lopes. Olson started 44 games last year with 49 appearances for the Lopes, and she led the team with 277 putouts. And so we're hoping she can get some offense going here for the Lopes to help bring the score up even higher. Pitch was high. It's now a 1-0 count to Olson.
Olson did go hitless last night in her season debut, sophomore from Riverside, California. Looking to make something happen here with the bases still loaded and 1 out.
That was a strike given to Olson. Very painting the corner there. Count is now 1-1. Runners looking to go at any sign of a hit. And that was a pitch far outside, bringing the count to 2-1 for Olson. Donaldson pitching for Weber State. And that ball was whacked into right field. 1 run will score. Bases the runners stayed.
Holland thought about tagging up right
Yeah.
there. Ball just a little bit too shallow to the outfield. So now Weber State 1 out away from just allowing 1 run here in this inning. As you take another look at that one from Taylor Olson, not a lot of movement for the right fielder. Making a good throw also to get that one in to make sure Holland had to stay at third base.
Yeah, you see her thinking about it there. Now Lauren Olson at the plate. First pitch in there for a strike, giving her a 0-1 count. And that ball hit on the third base side, foul for Olson. Runners started to move, obviously having to go back. Bases are still loaded for the Lopes. It is now an 0-2 count with 2 away here at the top of the first. Ball just off the strike zone there, so the count will move to a 1-2 count for Olson.
Olson looking to blow this one wide open here in the bottom of the first.
Again, that ball is outside. Almost looks as if Donaldson has the sun in her eyes as she's pitching, which could be part of the reason why those balls have either been really good strikes or way off the mark.
Now when they were just trying to get Olson to chase, it looked like.
Count is 2-2 to Olson. Runners are ready to go. And Olson hits that through the hole on the first base side.
Nicely
and 1
done.
run will score for the Lopes. Bases are still loaded here for the Lopes at the top of the first. And let's look back at that hit.
Drove that one right through the hole there between second and first, just past the outstretched glove of the second baseman for Weber State, as Kaylee Dietrich will step in.
First pitch to Dietrich is a ball, so the count goes to 1-0. The Lopes have, well, since there's been 4 people up bat, there have been 4 people on the diamond for the Lopes, having bases loaded continuously. And that ball was down and low, so it is now a 2-0 count for Dietrich, the right-hander junior.
That one in the dirt as well. So quickly 3-0 to Kaylee Dietrich. And they got to be careful not to put her on, as that would score Bishop from third.
Yeah, walking in a runner is not how you want to start this game. Already down 2-0 in the top of the first. Oh, and they called that a strike. Dietrich thought it was her 4th ball and was about to start walking to first base. The count is now 3-1 with bases still loaded, so if she does get that 4th ball, that would walk in that run, Kyle. And Dietrich pops that way up. And then ending the inning in center field. Now going to the middle of the first.
1 error, 3 runners left on base.
The Lopes leading 3 runners on the bases.
It's time for the upcoming schedule, brought to you by BSN Sports, the largest provider of team sports equipment and apparel in the country. The Lopes will take on Stanford right after this one. And then tomorrow, women's basketball returns home to host California Baptist at 2 p.m. And the GCU kickoff tournament continues here, where GCU softball will be back for another doubleheader starting with New Mexico at 3:30. You can catch all of those games right here on GCU TV. And Cheyenne, that basketball game tomorrow afternoon, but with the women between the Lancers and the Lopes. GCU women's basketball, they're tied to top of the WAC with Kansas City, or with Bakersfield, I believe. Bakersfield.
Yeah, Bakersfield ended up winning their last game, which moved them into first place as they were beating Kansas.
And the women, their last game was against New Mexico State here at GCU Arena, which they were able to defeat the Aggies. So halfway through WAC play, halfway to the conference tournament, we'll see if women's basketball can get it rolling, or keep it rolling rather, tomorrow, and see if softball can get it rolling right now.
They're doing a pretty good job at getting it rolling right now. And let's look at those 3 keys of the game that you have. And now we will look at those 3 keys later as we have our first batter up for Weber State. The pitch is in, and it is a strike as the runner looked like she was trying to bunt the ball. Or, sorry, excuse me, the hitter was trying to bunt the ball at now her count being
0-1 there from Denhart. Takesha Saltern is the batter. Almost painted the corner on that one, as that is Dietrich behind the plate here for game 1 here this afternoon, going into the early evening. So Dietrich was at first base last night, did a very good job there at first base. She'll be doing the catching here, and she almost got that call from the umpire. He thought about it before giving that one as a ball.
And the ball was hit and was caught on and through to first was good. So they now Weber State now has 1 out and nobody on base.
Now batting, center fielder number 14, Landy Hawker.
So we'll now go ahead, take a quick look at the Sanderson Ford 3 keys to the game. The first key tonight is going to be bounce back, which the Lopes have done very well early on in the first inning. Up 2-0 so far, as that one's fouled off and back. Second key is pitching. They pitched very well last night all the way through the majority of that 8th inning before Stanford was able to jump on Ryan Denhart. But Denhart threw, like we mentioned earlier, Cheyenne, a really good game, and she's back out there tonight. Got 1 batter down and has thrown pretty much all strikes so far. Third and final key is get them in. They stranded 6 runners on base last night, and they've been able to drive in a couple already here this evening rather. So with those 3 things, the Lopes can get into the win column for the first time and get momentum going into their second game tonight against Stanford.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Denhart having an amazing night last night, doing super great so far tonight. The current count is 0-2 to Hawker, and now just threw her first ball, so it is now a 1-2 count for Hawker with nobody on and 1 out for Weber State. And that was in for a ball to Hawker, so now the count goes to 2-2. As we mentioned, Kyle, Denhart had an amazing game last night, having over 100 pitches and almost over half of them being strikes that she threw last night. And that was in for a hit, and she was out. Hawker was out at first by a fielding to the first baseman.
Now batting, third baseman number 16.
We look at that again here on replay.
Good play, good footwork from Savannah Torville.
Yeah,
throwing right over there to Lily Bishop. Lily Bishop, the designated player last night for GCU. She's playing first base, as Holland is the designated player here in game 1. She caught last night for GCU.
The pitch from Dan Hart is in for a strike, having an 0-1 count to Chloe Camarero. And that last pitch was just a little high, giving it a 1-1 count.
Camarero earlier today went 1 for 2, scored 2 runs, had an RBI, including a home run. So Camarero, a dangerous hitter in the 3 spot for Weber State.
And Camarero popped that one right up to first, sending the Lopes out of the first.
For the Wildcats in the bottom of the first, no runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left on
And
base.
we will be
After one
watching
complete,
some more softball and hopefully
University.
some more great hitting from the Lopes as we go into the top of the second when we come back. You're watching softball here on GCU TV. And while you stay here with us for a little bit longer, Kyle, last night, as you mentioned, that devastating loss to Stanford, losing in extra innings, and then Stanford having a great win today. And we can talk about that later when we come back from commercial right here on GCU TV.
Hitting off the top of the second for the Lopes, center fielder number 6, Mickey Covarubio.
As a teacher, your calling was always to make a difference and positively impact the future. You live with a deep sense of purpose and strive to inspire generations of change. GCU's online Masters of Education degree program gives you the skills you need to grow and develop your career. You're not just inspiring future generations of leaders, you're giving them the tools they need to succeed.
Find your purpose at GCU, where
And welcome back to softball on GCU TV. That first hit was a great hit, and Covarubio goes back to first, thinking about getting that double there, but she slid back into first and is safe at first base.
Mickey Covarubio in her first collegiate at-bat, taking the first pitch she sees opposite direction into left field. Take another look. Jumped right on that one, right down the line, able to get it. She wanted 2 bases there, but thought better of it as the good throw came in from Pestka there in left field. That's already the Lopes' 5th hit of the ball game, and we've turned the order over as Brooke Cantillo will come back up.
Oh, and that pitch was misfielded by the second baseman, allowing for Covarubio to get to third and Cantillo to get safely to first instead of what looked like would have been a double play.
So it looks like Cantillo
Now batting left fielder Jaden Reed.
is going to reach there. So Jaden Reed back up. So another good job from the Lopes offense and a little bit of an error there. Take another look. Good fielding from the pitcher, just not a good throw over there to second base. And then Covarubio having the sense of mind really to pop right back up and start running and hit third base with a good slide. So now runners in the corners, nobody down. Lopes already up by 2, and they are really rolling and starting to feel it here in just now the second inning.
Yeah, they're really getting their bats going here for the offense for the Lopes as they are now have Reed up to bat, who also got a hit in the first inning. The Lopes have already turned the order over. So this is a great way to start the game for the Lopes.
Absolutely, exactly what you want if you're Coach Pearson and this
that one
GCU
by
team.
Reed hit, and it was foul. And the runner was out on the plate.
Take another look at this one. Good contact from Reed, going right into the middle of that outfield, and a really good throw on a one-hopper to get Covarubio.
So now the Lopes have 2 outs and a runner on second as Holland is at bat. And that ball to Holland is down and low for a 1-0 count. The Lopes starting off with already having more people on base than they left last night, Kyle. So starting this game for the Lopes at the beginning of their doubleheader, and that ball was low and lost in the dirt. The runner at second decided to stay. Holland at bat with a 2-0 count, with that ball getting away from the catcher.
Holland reached on an E5 last time up back in the first inning, and then came around to be one of those Lopes 2 runs.
And Holland hits that to the third baseman, who will field it to the first baseman, and that will get Weber State out of the inning with no more damage done on the end as we go into the middle of the second inning.
Get the best gear to show off your Lope pride. Go to lopeshops.gcu.edu to find everything GCU, from the newest apparel to the coolest accessories. Use promo code GCUTV25 to get 25% off just for being a GCU TV viewer. Let's paint the Valley purple, and as always, Lopes up.
As you mentioned, Kyle, that code once more is all capital GCU TV 25. The Lope Shop has lots of good stuff in there. It's always good to get some money off just for being a GCU TV listener.
Absolutely. Got some good deals probably going on there. You can make sure to get more purple. You can never have too much purple.
Never have too much purple. My entire closet is probably purple by now.
That's an understatement.
Leading off the bottom of the second for the Wildcats, the first baseman, number 7.
Speaking of GCU, there's always free t-shirts being handed out at every event.
T-shirt time is a real thing here at GCU.
It definitely is.
They had t-shirt time last night here at the softball stadium.
Yeah, we did, Kyle. And as we go into the bottom of the second, as once again, the Lopes are the designated home team for their first game tonight. Denhart is still pitching, and she throws her first pitch, which is outside for a ball, so the count will go to 1-1.
Brooke Moiahi up to bat here, the sophomore.
Moiahi gets a little piece of that, and that is, she is safe at first as Denhart missed that, and the throw was just a little late getting there to first base. So Weber State now has a runner on first as we look back at this play.
Off of Denhart's glove. Good play from Olsen. Just Bishop couldn't keep the foot on the bag there down at first base. So Moiahi is going to get the hit on the infield single.
Weber State coach is now currently talking to the
pinch
umpire.
runner coming out.
And that
Noelle
would be
Foster.
Noelle Foster pinch running for the Wildcats. And now up at bat
Coming in to pinch run for the
is
Wildcats,
Faith
number 15,
Ho
Noelle Foster.
with this runner on first base. And no one out here for the Wildcats. And that pitch from Denhart looked to be just a little outside there, moving the count to 2-0 for Ho.
So Foster standing on first base. She was able to get a hit in the first game, coming in as a pinch runner and then a pinch hitter. So she went 1 for 1 with an RBI and a run scored. So she's got some speed over there down at first base, and Faith Ho squares around. It's a bunt, as you saw Lily Bishop charging in hard here from first base, trying to cover that bunt, but pulled back just in time, and the count will go to 2-0.
And that was in there for a strike, the first strike to Ho, so it is now a 2-1 count Still with nobody out here in the bottom of the second, as Weber State is the designated home team for this first game here tonight. And Denhart's pitch is just a little outside there, moving the count to a 3-1 for Ho as she steps back into the batter's box.
Good swing.
That was a good swing. Ho fouls that one off down the first base side, bringing it to a full count of 3-2.
A little early on that one, just looked like she was kind of chopping at that one. Good spot from Ryan Denhart, really got her to chase. She did make contact, but got her to swing at that one. So now with the count being full, Lopes looking to get the first out of this inning, and Denhart really starting to settle into a groove here. She had a 1-2-3 inning, had a couple of those last night, and she'd like to have a couple more of those here tonight.
And that ball by Ho is hit into the left field side, all the way to the back of the wall. The runner is heading home, and she was tagged out. Weber State now has Ho on third and 1 out.
Great relay throw from Jaden Reed from the wall to get that one in quickly, and now a little bit of a protest from Weber State. We'll take another look. That one was a 2-3 hopper to the bottom of the wall. Reed gets it into Torville, and Torville delivers a laser right there, and I think the argument is that she didn't tag on the back, and Weber State immediately appeals to the umpires.
Yeah, Coach Mary Cohn is out there for Weber State currently having this talk with the umpire, saying that she was not actually tagged, and then that should count as a run for Weber State. She's now still talking with the umpires as we look at that one more time here on replay.
That is a tough angle. See if we can see. It looks like
with her body covering, and it's going to be hard to actually see that full angle of if the glove did fully hit her. There's no way to really tell from up here in the booth. It did look like she did get tagged.
So Faith Ho's going to get credited with the double and then advance to third on the throw, as it does look like the call is going to stand, as the umpires did get together there to hear out the protest. But the Lopes still up 2-0. Great job by the Lopes, and a good job from Kaylee Dietrich to apply the tag, as that runner Foster was coming hard around third, but a good hit from Faith Ho on the 3-2 count. Now her sister Lauren Ho coming up. She's doing the catching tonight.
When the first pitch to Lauren Ho is a strike, and now Weber State has 1 out and 1 person on third base.
She was 3 for 3 earlier today against New Mexico in that win.
And now she is currently down in the count 0-2 with that last pitch in there from Denhart. Ho's sister, the Ho sisters are currently 1 at bat, 1 at third, and that was tipped by Lauren Ho to give them their second out. So Weber State still has a runner in scoring position on third.
Number 11, McKell
As
Mikkel McQuestion will settle in with 2 outs. First strikeout of the day by Ryan Denhart. She had 4 last night, so now 5 total on the season, and let's see if she can get another one here.
and that was in there for a ball just a little off the top corner of the plate there.
McQuestion 1 for 3 earlier this morning in that game against New Mexico that they did end up winning, as we have mentioned. So looking at get another hit right here, bring in a run.
Weston fouls that off down the third base side, high up, hitting the fence. No way of keeping that ball in play. And so the count is now 1-1 with 2 outs and a runner still on third.
That one's going to catch her bat on the way through, so foul ball, and Ryan Denhart quickly ahead, 1-2 here. Looking to get back-to-back strikeouts and get GCU out of this inning as they're looking to hold on to their 2-0 lead.
Yeah, Denhart has been pitching really great here, only in the bottom of the inning, and let's look back here at this last pitch. She held up her swing, but it ended up tipping the bat, and that ball was down. Dietrich's had to cover it in the dirt, so it now goes back to a 2-2 count.
Very nicely done from Kaylee Dietrich to get down and get that one going into the dirt. That one gets by her. That's going to the backstop and might score a run.
Yeah, having Ho on third base, got to be careful with anything that could possibly bring in that runner standing on third.
Now another full count as that one was way up high from Ryan Denhart. As the Lopes waiting for the heart of the order in the 4-5-6, Bishop, Torville, and Taylor Olson due up in the top of the third for GCU.
And that was hit and just missed off of the, so that will bring in 1 run for Weber State, and they now have a runner at first base. And as we look back at that,
Now
just
batting,
barely
the designated
missed.
player, 00, Caitlin Whiting.
So now it is a 2-1 game, still Lopes ahead with Whiting at bat and a runner on first.
She was 1 for 3 as well in the opening game here today. She did score a run for Weber State, so Caitlin Whiting getting her first at bat here tonight.
And that was in by Denhart for a really nice strike directly over the heart of the plate, bringing the count to an 0-1 count. The runner on first keeps trying to, looking like she's going to steal Kyle. But Dietrich is right on her. Not going to let that happen here tonight if she can help it.
Whiting, the designated player.
Whiting taking a big swing on that, bringing the count to an 1-2. Bringing her down to her last strike for her at bat. Denhart still pitching really well despite having, she had over 100 pitches, 119 to be exact last night, Kyle. And she's still going strong here in the bottom of the second. And that pitch was swung on and a miss for the final out of the inning as we now go to the top of the third. And you'll get more softball right here on GCU TV.
GCU 2, Weber State 1.
Bossy, bossy. Just looking at my kids like I'm bossy. Bang, bang, bang. The wild little S to the base, step London and mid-on edges. Is it?
Curiosity fuels you. So when you're ready for a fulfilling new career, let your curiosity fuel that change. Grand Canyon University's online degree programs in technology make it convenient for you to achieve your dream. GCU teaches you how to plan for innovation.
Well,
By
Bishop
applying
reached
that
on the
knowledge to
fielder choice.
today's
She
most
did.
challenging
She did.
problems, you're helping to build a
She
better
was left on
tomorrow.
base.
Find your purpose at GCU, where advanced technologies drive education. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu/online.
Came through drippin', drip, drip. Came through drippin', drip, drip. Came through drippin', drip, drip. Diamonds on my wrist, they drippin'. Ice. Came through drippin', drip, drip. Came through drippin'.
Mountain Dew Ice, a clear, refreshing lemon lime.
And welcome back inside the GCU softball stadium as we look one more time at this amazing play that stopped the run from coming in. That was honestly a great play, tagging the runner who was coming in from third. As we now look, and we have Lily Bishop at the plate for the Lopes.
She reached on a fielder's choice in her first at-bat of the night, so she is 0 for 1 on the ball game so far, as that one's upstairs for ball number 1 to Lily Bishop.
So She currently has a 1-0 count as she is the first person at bat. Clearly there's nobody on base yet, but let's hope. The Lopes have currently had the leadoff man in the first 2 innings. And Lily Bishop hit that and hit it as a ground ball to first and was fielded by Mioe and is now the Lopes have their first out, with Torville coming up to bat for the Lopes.
First pitch to Torville is going to be way outside for a ball.
The count for Torville is 1-0 here at the top of the third.
Torville had an RBI single in her first at-bat in the first inning.
And that ball was down and low to Torville for a 2-0 count now. Donaldson still pitching for Weber State. And that ball that she had in there was good for the first strike to Torville, as it is now a 2-1 count. Torville thought about going. That ball was in there for a strike, bringing her
She
count
wanted
to
that one.
2-2. She did. Now, yeah, Torville definitely wanted that. She ended up holding up, and that ball was called a strike. That pitch was called a strike. And Torville pops that one up, and it drops down in right center. And Torville is safe at first.
Another hit for Savannah Torville, who was hitless in 3 at-bats last night. 0 for 1 with a pair of walks, and now 2 for 2.
Look at that hit again from Torville. So that was a great hit from Torville. Really digging in there, and she's now safe at first.
Hit number 6 for GCU. So Donaldson almost had a chance to get 2, but hesitated and then ended up getting Torville at second base.
And Olsen is now at first after she swung on that first pitch. The Lopes now have 2 outs and a runner on first base. Now Lauren Olsen at bat for the Lopes. And that ball was far outside, so it is a 1-0 count for Lauren Olsen with 2 outs and a runner on first.
Olsen RBI'd singled in her first at-bat in the first inning as well for the Lopes.
She hit that to the shortstop, who fields it to first, sending the Lopes out of the inning, now going into the middle of the third.
For the Lopes in the top of the third, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 runner left on base.
Leaving 1 runner left on base for the Lopes.
Grand Canyon University Arena is proud to host Elevate 2020 Music Festival. Back in Phoenix, Arizona for its 8th straight year. Join us this June for a great weekend of worship. Tickets are on sale now at gcuarena.com. Takes place June 27th to June 28th. That's a Saturday and a Sunday this June, and a very good night of worship coming at you with Casting Crowns, Matthew West, Chris Tomlin, just to name a few, as you can see right there on your screen. So make sure you get your tickets for that right now. Once again, gcuarena.com for Elevate 2020.
Yeah, it's a really great lineup there tonight, Kyle. Denhart coming back
Leading off
onto the
bottom
mound
of the third
for
for
the
the
Lopes,
Wildcats, left fielder, number 9.
going
Courtney
into the
Pesca.
bottom of the third. Denhart pitched last night for 7 2/3 innings until she left for the final out of the 8th inning in that game against Stanford last night.
Courtney Pesca coming to the plate for the first time here tonight to face Ryan Denhart, still 2-1. Lopes have the lead here in the 3rd inning.
And that hit from Denhart is a strike right over the top corner of the plate. It was a really nice pitch by Denhart. As we mentioned, her having over 100 pitches last night, Kyle. It's really great that the Lopes can extend her use here into the 2nd game. And then their 1st game here tonight. And that was also called a strike, so now the count is 0-2. Excuse me, the umpire just changed the count to 1-1. It changed here and made it an 0-2 count.
One and two. That last one in there for a strike. Denhart looking to pick up her 3rd strikeout of the evening.
And that was a high ball and a nice catch by Dietrich to make sure that ball did not go to the back wall. So now the count is 2-2 to Pesca. Denhart's pitch was high outside, bringing it to a full count. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. As we mentioned, Kyle, Weber State is the designated home team tonight, hence why they are at the bottom. And that pitch was a strike.
Called strike
Called
3.
strike
Got her
three.
looking on that one. Ryan Denhart, great pitch, good spot, and a beautiful frame by Kaylee Dietrich to give Denhart her 3rd strikeout on the evening for out number 1 here in the bottom of the 3rd, as the lineup finally turns back over for Weber State, as Saltern will come back up. She grounded out to 2nd base, and she'll do it again.
She started swinging and running at the same time with that pitch. She was guaranteed that she wanted to go on that first pitch that was thrown by Denhart. So there is now 2 away for Weber State here in the bottom of the 3rd. And let's look at that one more time. And we go back, and we now have Hawker back at the plate.
She grounded out to Torville at short in her first plate appearance. There are 2 outs here in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Lopes clinging to a 1-run lead so far. Just misses.
Is now a 1-1 count to Hawker. Denhart still pitching great in the bottom of the 3rd inning with 2 outs away, nobody on base. And that pitch was just outside, bringing the count to 2-1 for Hawker.
Denhart gets her sign from Dietrich. She's ready to deliver.
And that one was hit and bounced back to Denhart, bringing it to the end of the 3rd.
The Wildcats in the bottom of the 3rd. No runs, no hits, no errors.
No hits,
Nobody left on base.
no errors, and no one left on base.
Grand Canyon
And you'll
University
get more
2,
softball
Weber
right
State
here
1.
on GCU TV.
Why choose Sanderson Ford?
Straight up offers like these.
Now through President's Day, escape to a D-backs game and a new Escape for only $18,900. Lease one for only $259 a month. Save $10,000 on all 2019 F-150 Super Cruise. Get 2 Arizona Diamondback tickets just for coming in.
Plus, they support local sports
and donate generously to local charities.
If it's important to you to do business with someone who supports our community,
choose Sanderson Ford.
Straight up.
When it came time to look for master's degrees, when I first learned about Grand Canyon, I think as teachers and coaches, you're never done learning. Being a mentor is one of the most important things in my life. For me, it's not always about winning, it's about instilling things in my students and my athletes that'll carry them on. I'm confident to say that I wouldn't be the same teacher or coach that I am today without that experience at GCU. I'm Joseph, and I graduated with a master's degree online from GCU.
There's a thunder in all of us. Come find your purpose at Grand Canyon University.
Welcome back inside the GCU softball stadium as Dietrich is at bat for the Lopes. Donaldson is still in pitching for Weber State. And we'll see how this pitch from Dietrich knocks that ball high into left field and was caught, so she is now out for the first out of the inning here at the top of the fourth. Cavarubio is up next at bat for the Lopes.
Take another look there as a big swing from Dietrich just got way underneath it. And then Faith Ho was right there on the edge of the outfield grass to make that catch. And the Lopes retire one here as, like you mentioned, Mickey Cavarubio back up to bat. She got her first collegiate hit and her first at-bat on the first swing of that at-bat.
Yeah, that was a great hit by her in her last at-bat. And that first pitch into her was a ball, so her count is now a 1-0 with 1 out. And again, she just knocks that ball into left field. Again, thinks about going for second and heads back to first. Carubio, for her first time at bat, did a great job, and even again now getting another base hit here tonight in the top of the fourth inning.
Mickey Cavarubio showing why she should be in the lineup a lot more often and making her collegiate debut, like we mentioned, getting her second hit, same spot as the first hit was. She took a one pitch longer than last time up.
I think she just wanted to be in the batter's spot a little bit longer. She swung on the first pitch she had last time.
Just wanted to savor the moment a little bit more.
This first hit into Cantillo is in for a ball. So bringing her count to 1-0 with one runner on base and 1 out here in the top of the fourth. And Cantillo rips that ball almost in the same spot that Carubio did. And she gets that sliding double as Carubio slides into third. The Lopes now have runners in scoring position with 1 out here in the top of the fourth. And that now brings Jordan Reed back to a bat who is 1-2 on the day. And Ho will go to Donaldson to talk to her pitcher for a little bit just to ease her back down. It's only the top of the fourth. Still has plenty of time left here in this game. Just wants to ease her down a little bit and get her back into where she needs to be for the rest of the game.
So second hit of the ball game for Brooke Cantillo, advancing to second on that throw in, so she'll be credited with a single. As now there's runners on second and third for Jaden Reed to come up and do some damage. She's got one hit. She also scored a run back in the first inning.
So all of these Lopes can be dangerous when they get their bats going, and that ball to Reed is down and away for a 1-0 count to Reed. You know, Kyle, last night the Lopes had a little bit of trouble getting those bats going and being able to actually get runners home. As we mentioned, that loss into Stanford. And Reed hit that ball. And it was Carubio who was safe at the plate. And there's now some confusion as the ball is still live. And Reed was almost in a jam there. Reed got back to first safely.
Designated player, Kaylee Holland.
And Holland is now up at bat. The Lopes have runners on the corners with 1 out away here at the top of the first. Score now for the Lopes, leading 3-1. Holland in the box for the Lopes with runners on the corners. Holland is 0-2, reaching on errors both times here tonight. And we just had a steal here for the Lopes as Reed just stole second. So now we have 2 runners in scoring positions here for the Lopes with Holland still in the box. And let's take a look at that one more time. No one was there. She got that standing up. And so the Lopes now again have 2 runners in scoring position. And that pitch from Donaldson was high and away. So Holland's count is now even at 1-1 with 2 runners in scoring position. And that ball was hit to the left center, and 2 runs will score for the Lopes here, giving the Lopes a 5-1 lead, leaving 1 runner on first base. And let's look at that one more time here, Kyle. Just a great hit and a missed fielding opportunity by the shortstop. And that slide in by Reed to get that second run here.
And that looks like it'll do it for Donaldson, who will go 3 1/3 for Weber State, giving up 9 hits. Gave up 5 runs. 4 of those runs are going to be earned for Donaldson.
And Donaldson will leave 1 person on base. That is her.
And we talked about bringing runners around when they get them on base earlier in the Sanderson Ford keys to the game. And the Lopes have left 5 on base so far, but they've been able to bring in 5 on 9 hits, including 2 just now on the Kaylee Holland 2 RBI single. So the Lopes doing a good job getting the bats alive here in game number 2 on the season.
And that new pitcher in for Weber State is Amanda Sink, number 20 for Weber State, the right-handed pitcher who is a freshman from Las Vegas. Is the new pitcher coming in for Weber State. There's currently 1 person on base. That will be Donaldson's run. If she is going to come around and score, that will be charged to Donaldson as she left her on base.
First time this season that Weber State's going to go to the bullpen, as in their first game they had Ramirez going all 7 innings against New Mexico, and now they'll bring in Sink, who, as you mentioned, was a freshman. She'll be making her collegiate debut right here, down with her team down 5-1, and the Lopes already this inning 3 hits and 3 runs scored, with Lily Bishop coming to bat, followed by Savannah Torville, and only 1 away here so far in the 4th inning.
Bishop is currently 0 for 2 on the night. She has reached in the first and the third on a couple of errors, and that pitch was off, and
so Holland will be caught stealing.
Tagged out at second, trying to steal. So the Lopes now have 2 outs. Let's look at that again here, Kyle. She had great speed, but that tag was just perfect there in time. to get that second out of the 4th inning.
Lauren Ho able to get Kaylee Holland going to second base. Good throw from her behind the plate and a momentum shifter for Weber State here.
And that ball from Sink was just a little off, so that will bring Bishop's count to 2-0. Again, with that last out, leaving nobody on base currently for Bishop. And that pitch was slightly, just barely foul on that line to the first base side. So it is now a 2-1 count here for Bishop.
Lopes and the Wildcats 4-4 all time, with the Lopes on a 3-game winning streak, including 2 times last year in March 16th and 17th, winning both those games here in Phoenix. Both those scores 2-0. So Lopes looking to extend their win streak against the Wildcats to 4 in a row now, and the Wildcats looking to get their first win in the last 3 meetings.
Yeah, and that ball was down and low, so it is now a 3-1 count. And as you mentioned, Kyle, the Lopes and the Wildcats are 4-4 at all times meeting. So whoever wins this game would take that lead at least for until tomorrow, when they will meet again. And that ball was popped up high by Bishop, and that will get the Wildcats out of the top of the 4th inning, as we now go to the middle of the 4th.
For the Lopes in the top of the 4th, 3 runs.
And that would also
3
leave
hits.
1 person
No errors.
on base for the Lopes.
No runners left on base.
The Lope Shop is proud to carry products from GCBC, the Grand Canyon Beverage Company. Enjoy this tasty line of coffee, tea, and energy drinks from GCU in the comfort of your own home. Now available at lopesshops.gcu.edu/GCBC. Cheyenne, you got some GCBC up here in the booth for this game and for the next one.
GCBC is my slight addiction that I have. It's so great, Kyle. I know you don't really drink coffee or tea or energy drinks, but I mean, you gotta have Stampede. You gotta keep up with the herd, you know? It's the drink of GCU.
I'm not a big energy drinker.
But you just put some, like,
Now, what Stampede do you get?
Okay.
What Stampede do you get?
Well, one of our other commentators, as you know, Montana, has her drink that she got everyone into with peach, lavender, and passion fruit.
What does lavender taste like?
It tastes, that's what I get in my coffee.
What does it taste like? I don't.
It tastes like
What flavor?
lavender.
What does that? That doesn't help.
It tastes like lavender, Kyle.
What does lavender taste like? I wouldn't know what lavender tastes like. I don't just.
I mean, some people think it might taste like soap, but it tastes good.
Interesting. Have some soapy Stampede.
It doesn't taste like soap, but it's really good. But I also really love watermelon and melon flavoring in my Stampede. It's really good.
Watermelon and melon aren't the same flavor?
No, melon is like cantaloupe.
Oh, gotcha.
Or like
All right.
green melon.
I am right there with you as we are back now, as Camarero will come back to the plate for her second trip today.
And that pitch from Tenhart is in for a strike, so bringing her count to an 0-1 count for Camarero here in the bottom of the 4th. And that pitch from Denhart is slightly off the top corner of the plate, bringing it to a 1-1 count for Camarero. Camarero was 0-1 for her first time at bat, this being now her second time. And Dietrich framing those balls nicely, but again, that ball just slightly off the plate here. So it is now a 2-1 count to Camarero. The Lopes have a 5-1 lead on the Wildcats currently. And that ball was hit high up, and I don't know where that
up on the roof right
went.
above us.
Yeah, right above. Looking up, our window's open right next to us. Got to be
I was
careful
ready.
it doesn't hit the camera.
I was ready.
Kyle was ready to catch that ball. He was ready. Put him in, coach.
I was. Not saying I would have caught it, but I was ready.
And that ball was hit to Olsen, and Bishop got that out at first. It is now 1 out for the Wildcats.
First baseman, Brooke Moiai.
And Kyle's hand is up, ready to catch a ball if it happens to come through that window. Just put Kyle on the
Good
baseball
form.
team.
Gotta have good form.
Gotta
Soft
have good
hands.
form.
Soft hands, everybody.
A glove would be helpful.
Yeah, that I don't have.
And that ball.
So a 1-0 count from Denhart as
And that ball is in for a strike from Denhart for a 1-1 count to Miyahi. 0-2 count.
0-2 count. We will get that correction.
Yes.
Up there. There it is
count.
on
There
the
we
board
go.
now. I probably shouldn't be keeping score in pen because I can't fix that, but that is okay.
And that was hit right back to Denhart and then to Bishop for the second out of the fourth.
Shortstop, Faith Ho.
And that will bring Faith Ho back to the plate. She was 1-1. So she made it her last time at bat, and she ended up getting all the way to third last time, Kyle.
She doubled, scored a run.
Yeah.
Back in the only run for Weber State so far, back in the second inning.
And she left her sister on third at the end of that inning, and that ball was in for a ball, and it was 1-0 count to Ho. And that pitch from Denhart is a strike, bringing her count to a 1-1 for Faith.
Ryan Denhart, not a lot of times has she been behind in the count or has allowed a full count so far here in this game. So Denhart, after pitching last night, really settling into a groove now here in appearance number 2 for her in the season, looking to pick up her first win as she's 0 for 1 so far.
And that was just a little low, bringing it to a 2-1 count with 2 outs. And that ball was off and almost in the dirt. So now the count for Ho is 3-1 here in the bottom of the fourth.
Ryan Denhart, of course, preseason pitcher of the year in the Western Athletic Conference, along with a first-team All-WAC nomination, but by the coaches in the preseason to be joined also by Brianna Aguilar and Savannah Torville on that All-WAC list for the preseason GCU, who was also picked to finish in the top of the Western Athletic Conference standings come conference play, right behind Seattle.
Yep, and that last pitch from Denhart was in for a strike. So Ho now has a full count here. And she takes a huge whack. That ball gets away from Dietrich. And so the count remains at 3-2 for Ho.
This one moving right along, even though we got some 11 hits so far and 6 runs scored in this one. Lopes looking really good against the defending Big Sky champions who went 1-2 in the NCAA tournament. That one goes just foul, but Weber State getting their first win in the conference tournament last season in the LA Regional.
Yeah, they had their first win in a regional last year. First time in program history that has happened for Weber State. But they have been a 4-year consecutive regular season champions, and then 3 consecutive, and that was barely off, allowing Ho to reach the first. Let's look at this
Catcher, Lauren Ho.
one more time. And that pitch from Denhart, just slightly off. Dietrich doing a great job of framing that, and now Faith's sister, Lauren, is at bat for the Wildcats.
So last season in that LA Regional that we were just talking about, they were able to beat Cal State Fullerton 7-3 after going 27-21 last year, going 14-2 in the Big Sky Conference. So Weber State really rolling through that conference last year with just a pair of losses and a very good team. Unfortunately, they got stuck in the regional with UCLA, and as we all know, they're the defending champions.
So just some tough luck there. That ball to Lauren Ho is in for a strike, so her count is 0-1. And yeah, Kyle, as you mentioned, just a tough break, and Ho pops that ball up, and it will fall despite a great dive. And now there are runners on the corners for Weber State. Both Ho sisters are on the corners. Faith Ho being on third, and Lauren Ho being on first for Weber State. There are still 2 outs for the Wildcats here in the bottom of the 4th, and that looks like it might be the end of the night for Denhart. While she had a great time as a great night here, being her second night pitching straight for the Lopes, Kyle.
And we'll see if this is just a visit to talk things out. Runners on the corners, 2 gone. 5-1 lead for the Lopes, trying to preserve that right now. Almost through 4 complete innings here.
Yeah, as we mentioned last night, she was in for 7 2/3 innings, and Denhart looks like she will stay in the game for the Lopes here, as we have runners on the corner and 2 away.
Just the 3rd hit given up by Denhart here this evening. No stranger to complete games as Ryan Denhart. Nearly pitched a complete game last night. She had 9 all of last season. So we'll see how much longer Denhart goes. Her pitch count well above 60 pitches now. She threw 119 again last night, and that one she's going to hit the batter on that one. So another walk from Denhart.
So the Wildcats have the runner on at first, second, and third with that hit batter.
So McHouston, the hit batsman there, going to first base. Bases are loaded here, Cheyenne. So the Lopes, 2 outs, plays at any base on the ground, and anything in front you got to be looking to throw to the plate to avoid giving up more than a run if this ball falls in front of you, if you're the Lopes outfielders in Reed, Cavarubio, or Cantillo.
As you mentioned, Kyle, bases are loaded, so the play is at any base, and that pitch is just outside for Denhart.
Whiting struck out her first at-bat.
Whiting now has a 1-0 count with 2 out and a full bases loaded of Wildcats here tonight in the bottom of the 4th. As you mentioned, she struck out her first time at bat, Kyle, and she hits that one off, and it hits the net. If it would have been on the other side, Kyle, you might have been able to catch it.
Maybe one of these days. I don't know if nothing's getting through these nets. It'd have to be a really high pop-up and then take a really weird hop
We have to have our
off the concrete to get into the window that's open right next to us.
And then we'd have to, like, fly past me into you.
I just, gotta lay out. You gotta lay out for it.
Just be careful.
Sacrifice yourself for the team,
Just be careful.
I make no promises.
I'll make sure to move out of the way then.
It's good. Protect the coffee.
That's protect the GCBC, and that ball was just outside for Denhart. As Whiting's count is now 2-1 with 2 outs here. Bases still loaded for the Wildcats. And that ball was fouled off by Whiting, bringing it to a 2-2 count. Lopes just looking to get here out of this inning.
She was right on top of that one, fouling that one straight back, so just a little bit underneath and a little bit late was Whiting on that one. She's 0 for 1, as we mentioned, with the strikeouts, so looking to really get this game a little bit closer. It's 5-1 right now, and she can, with a 2-2 count and 2 outs, a base hit here, could score multiple runs for Weber State and get them right back in this game.
State 3 runs as that ball hit by Whiting was hit almost being a home run and just barely hitting back off that wall in left center. And that scoring 3 runs for Weber State. It now being a 5-4 ball game, and that will be the end of the night for Denhart. And as you mentioned, Kyle, one hit swing of the bat can really change the momentum of any time here in this game.
So Denhart, 4 runs, all earned. She'll finish her day 3 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, 4 runs, all earned, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts as Lexi Coons will come in relief again for Ryan Denhart, as she did last night with 2 outs in the top half of the 8th. She was able to retire the batter right away, was Lexi Coons. So we'll see what Lexi Coons can do. So that one is going to be ruled a double for Whiting with 3 RBIs.
Yeah, Whiting just found her pitch and she really swung at it. As we mentioned, that was very close to being a home run. So I'm thankful that Whiting is
That commentator's
still at
curse.
second. Yeah.
As soon
Gotta
as,
say it.
as soon as I did it last night and I did it again here today so far, hopefully I don't do it in the next one. The Lopes up 5-4 right now, so Lexi Coons looking to come in and shut it down here in the 4th inning as Pestka is back up. She also struck out looking as part of one of Denhart's strikeouts. She'll be due up again.
And as we mentioned, Whiting still at second base, so that will be charged to Denhart if she is to come around and score here in this
Wildcats left fielder,
inning.
Courtney Pestka.
Pestka at bat now for the Wildcats and will be the first batter that Coons faces here tonight. Wildcats have 2 out and 1 on.
So Denhart still in line for that win on the her first win on the season for the Lopes, and it would be her first on the season as well. So Coons can shut it down, get multiple inning save here if needed.
And that ball was, they're checking that swing. That was definitely not fair. But that count is now a 1-0 count for Pestka, as that ball was just a little outside. And that hit was hit off of Torville's arm and into left center. So that will allow another run to score, tying the game for the Wildcats, as Pestka is now on first base. Let's look at that one more time. That hit just right off of Torville's elbow and bounces that ball back and then has to be fielded, allowing that run to score from second, and now having Pestka at first. So we're still in the bottom of the 4th here with 2 outs and a runner on first.
Keisha Saltern coming back to the plate, 0 for 2.
Teacher is not messing around. She was ready to throw that ball if she had to. As you mentioned, Saltern's count is now 0 and 1. Saltern back. She is 0 for 2 on the day. And just hit that ball foul, as the Lopes just trying to look to get out of this inning here and keep this game tied, as it is now currently again 5-5, as the Wildcats have brought 4 around to score in this inning.
And still a lot of softball left to be played, Cheyenne. So the Lopes going to get back to the plate here in the top of the 5th if they can get out of this inning without any more damage done and still have a tie ball game.
And that the runner is safe at second, as she just stole. So Pestka just stole second, and now the Wildcats have that leading run at second with that runner in scoring position.
But that's a good throw from Kaylee Dietrich, just a little bit off the bag there at second base. Torville does a great job to cover, and if that throws a little bit more off to the right of the bag, that tag is going to be laid right down on Pestka, and we would have been out of this inning.
That pitch from Spoons is outside, so it is now a 2-2 count to Saltern. with a runner on second. And that pitch again is low and outside, bringing it to a full count for Saltern. The senior, who is 0-2 on the night so far, looking for her first hit of the night. Currently with Pesca on second base. The Lopes currently just trying to get out of this inning here. As we mentioned before, Kyle, still in the bottom of the fourth. Saltern just hits that ball as she is attempting to run to first. So that ball is foul, and it is still a full count here tonight with her up at bat. Currently, the Weber State head coach was talking to the umpire real fast. Just for clarification, it looks like Saltern's still at bat with a full count. Lexi Coons trying to just get the Lopes out of this inning as she came on in relief for Denhart. Weber State has a runner on second, and the pitch again fouled, this time to the third base side by Saltern, who is still looking for her first hit of the night. Dietrich just trying to calm Coons down, telling her, just trying to settle her down as she came in relief for Denhart. Just telling her I only need one more strike to get her and her team out of this inning here. And that pitch just slightly high, bringing the ball, allowing the walk of Saltern. So there are now two on base, one runner in scoring position, being Pesca and the runner at first, Saltern. Now Hawker back up at bat.
Landy Hawker also 0 for 2 here on the evening, and Lopes now have allowed 2 base runners looking to get out of the inning.
Be fielded and give the Lopes their final out of the inning that they needed to get out of the fourth. Coming back,
the 4 runs, 3 hits,
the
no errors.
Wildcats left
one runner
on base.
After 4 completes.
That is the end of the fourth inning, and you will get more softball right here on GCU TV.
So one key component that makes the Waste Management Phoenix Open so successful is Cox Business. Over 700,000 people are going to come enjoy TPC Scottsdale, from digital TV to digital phones to security, and most importantly, that free Wi-Fi all over this property. We simply couldn't do it without a partner like Cox Business. We're grateful, we're thankful, it's a hole-in-one.
Find your purpose at GCU, where advanced technologies drive education. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.
Person at bat for the Lopes in the top of the 5th inning.
2 for 2 with a pair of singles is Savannah Torville with 1 RBI as well. Looking to get things rolling for GCU. They've already had a couple leadoff runners. 2 in the last 4 innings of play. They've been able to get the leadoff runner on.
And that pitch was far outside for Torville. Excuse me, that ball was a strike for Torville and just got away from the catcher, bringing it to a 0-1 count to Torville. The freshman pitcher for Weber State, Sink, is back in for them, pitching as she came in relief for Donaldson. And that was a ball from Sink. So Torville's count is now 1-1 here at the top of the 5th. The Lopes trying to put the leadoff man on for, again, at the top of this inning here. And that pitch was just inside. Some of the Weber State fans not too happy about that not being called a strike. So it is now a 2-1 count to Torville. Pitch from Torville hit that directly to center, being caught by Hawker, giving the Lopes their first out of the 5th inning. Olsen now at bat here for the Lopes. Let's look at that hit one more time. Just went straight to Hawker there in center. And Taylor Olsen at bat here for the Lopes. The sophomore from Riverside, California. And the first pitch to her is called a strike. So her count is 1-0 here at the top of the 5th. Lopes having 1 out and nobody on base. Looking to get that first person on base here in the top of the 5th. And that ball again just outside for Olsen, excuse me. And so her count now being 1-1. And that again just barely missing the zone, making it a 2-1 count here in the 5th for Olsen. And that pitch was just down low, so it is a 3-1 count to Taylor Olsen here in the top of the 5th. And so we'll see what Sig throws for Olsen here. And that is just outside. So Olsen is walked. So there is now 1 on and 1 away for the Lopes.
Second baseman, Lorianne Olsen.
And now Lorianne Olsen will be on, and it looks like the Lopes have a pinch runner here.
Rachel Hammond's coming out. She pinch ran last night as well. She'll come in and do it again.
14 for 8.
With 1 out here in the top of the 5th as Lorianne Olsen, who's 1 for 2 tonight with a single and an RBI, grounded out her last time up to the shortstop, Faith Ho. And we'll be looking to get something rolling as Weber State was able to claw their way back into this one, down 5-1 to start the bottom of the 4th. Scored 4 to tie this one up, and now the Lopes looking to answer here in the top of the 5th.
And that ball was just off again, so it is now a 1-0 count.
Keeps looking to paint those corners and just has been unable to do so, has Amanda Sink so far. So a 2-0 count now to Lorianne.
And Lorianne has 1 person on the corner for her with 1 out as she has a 2-0 count here. With that pinch runner at first, and Lorianne hits it, but it goes straight back, so the runner at first now has to go back. So the Lopes now have 2 away, still with that 1 runner on here in the top of the 5th.
Catcher, Kaylee Dietrich.
And that will bring Dietrich up to bat for the Lopes. Still having that runner on first.
Kaylee Dietrich 0 for 2 here so far this evening, looking to bring Rachel Hammonds, the pinch runner, around.
And that ball was way outside to Dietrich. Sink, as you mentioned, trying to paint those corners, and she's just not getting those calls that she wants. And that one was, again, high and outside for Dietrich, bringing her count to 2-0 with 2 outs and a runner on first. And now Ho will go to Sink and just try and talk to her pitcher, try and calm her down, and get her back into where she needs to be here for getting this final out for Weber State here, so that they can go up and have their turn at bat here in the 5th. And that throw by Ho was off, as Haymans now is at second base, as she just stole second. And we'll take a look at that one more time.
Throw took a weird short hop, and Hammonds almost had enough time to pop up and go to third on the errant throw from the catcher, but she thought better of it, stays at second, and now 3-0 count coming for Kaylee Dietrich.
And now Dietrich was walked, so giving her a 4-0 count, walking her. So there now are runners on first and second in Hammonds, who is the pinch runner, and Dietrich, who was just walked. So the Lopes now have 2 outs and 2 runners on, 1 in scoring position here in the top of the 5th. Lopes trying to look and regain some of that lead that was taken away from them in the bottom of the 4th, as the Wildcats were able to come around and score 4 runs in that bottom of the 4th.
So another pinch runner coming out for Dietrich.
Yeah, we have Pearson.
To run for the Lopes, number 47.
Jordan Pearson coming back in. She came in pinch run last night. Jordan Pearson, of course, the daughter of head coach Ann Pearson for this Lopes squad, as Mickey Cavarubio will step back up. She's 2 for 2 with a pair of singles back in the 2nd and the 4th inning. She came around and scored back in the 4th.
Cavarubio having a great night for her first collegiate appearance. Took the very first pitch that was thrown to her, her first time at bat. Second one, her second time at bat. So we'll see if she takes 3 this time.
She's got 2 hits on 3 pitches faced so far in her young collegiate career. And we'll see if she can get the Lopes back on the scoreboard and to regain the lead.
And that was, again, Singh trying to paint those corners and not getting the call that she wants. So it is now a 1-0 count for Cavarubio, with runners on first and second. And that pitch was in for a strike, giving Cavarubio a 1-1 count. Runners are ready to go on any sign of a hit, as we now have 2 pinch runners in the game for the Lopes. Cavarubio fouls that one back, bringing it to a 1-2 count. The runners on first and second for the Lopes are ready to run at any sign of a hit. Ready and trying to help their team regain that lead that they once had, as again, the Wildcats were able to score 4 pitches, and that ball is hit high into left field, and it was caught by Hawker, giving the 3rd out for the Lopes here, going into the middle of the 5th.
The Ethington Theater presents a modern take on the Shakespearean classic, The Tempest. Filled with explosive drama and vengeance, this sinister play centers around a magical storm which leaves passengers shipwrecked on a tropical island. Get your tickets now at the Ethington Theater box office, and that actually opens up tonight, probably already, or just probably about ready to get started. So still got some time to go over to the Ethington Theater here all weekend long, as well as next weekend. So make sure you get out to that Ethington Theater and go out and see the Tempest. Free student tickets, I believe, with your valid GCU student ID.
Yep, so.
Oh, it says it right there.
Oh, yeah, there we go. See, if you read, you learn magical things, Kyle.
You know, that's what they keep telling me. As Weber State was able to bat around, send 9 batters to the plate in that 4th inning, as it will be Camarillo back up. She is 0 for 2. And Lexi Coons will come out for her first full inning of work. She's allowed 1 hit, 1 run, and walked 1 batter as well. Of course, that 1 run is unearned, as that was Ryan Denhart's base runner right before Denhart left the game back in that 4th inning.
As you mentioned, Kyle, that 1 run was Denhart's. So hopefully Lexi Coons hopes to get out with having any more runs attached to her name, as we have Camarero back. She is currently 0-2. She reached on, her last time at bat was a ground out, and again, this ball now getting away from Dietrich. So now there is a 1-0 count for Camarero here in the bottom of the 5th. And this pitch from Coons just a little high, and so that is the 2nd ball for Camarero here in the top of the bottom of the 5th, as the Weber State Wildcats are the designated home team for tonight's game. Last inning they did, as you mentioned, Kyle, some damage, having 9 players come to the plate, and that ball is just, again, slightly off from Coons, bringing it to a 3-0 count. But Weber State in that last inning had 9 batters and were able to tie the game at 5-5, bringing 4 runs to score in that bottom 4th. And Coons just walked Camarero, as that last pitch was low.
Coons' 2nd walk of the evening so far.
Bishop going over there, just trying to settle down her pitcher. And take it, she's just got to take it 1 pitch at a time and try and really find that strike zone. As
Muiahi comes up, she's 1 for 2.
And that ball was slightly off, bringing it to a 1-0 count. Dietrich ready to throw down to 1st or 2nd if needed be, with Camarero at 1st, trying to prevent the steal.
Muiahi singled back in the 2nd and then was thrown out at the plate. Part of that great tag by Kaylee Dietrich, full extension after a great relay throw from Savannah Torville.
Yep, and that ball just getting away from Dietrich. Thankfully not far enough for Camarero to make it to 2nd, was able to get that ball back and under control. As now Muiahi's count is 1-1, and looking to see what this next pitch will be from Coons. And it is, again, just off the top corner, a little high, for a 2-1 count now for Muiahi. As you mentioned, Kyle, she was thrown out at the base her last time at bat, or her last time when she was up, when she was coming around, she was thrown out at home. And that ball, and now Camarero was thrown out at 2nd as that slight bunt. Muiahi made it to 1st. So now the Wildcats have 1 out and 1 on.
Shortstop, Faith Ho.
That will bring Faith Ho back to the plate.
That is a great play by Kaylee Dietrich behind the plate. Take a look at that one.
And that
so close, but a great call by the umpire as we freezed it there for you. Great job from Savannah Torville getting over to that base, picking that ball out of the dirt, but an even better bunt by Mohiahi, as that one just came off her bat and just died right in front of Dietrich, and Dietrich had to make a laser of a throw down to second, and she did it beautifully.
Yeah, Dietrich had a great throw down there to second to Torvo. And now Faith Ho back at bat with a 1-0 count, as that last ball was thrown just off and under the strike zone.
She's doubled and walked today and scored 2 runs.
And that ball is a little high, giving Ho a 2-0 count. And that ball again just off. So it is now a 3-0 count to Faith Ho, with 1 runner on first for the Wildcats. Wildcats looking to continue what they had going on in the bottom of the 4th, where they brought around 4 leads. And again, Coons walked the batter, so now there is Mohiahi on second and Ho on first.
Back-to-back walks for Faith Ho the last 2 times she's been up to bat in the 4th and the 5th inning.
And
she's walked both times.
Now the umpire coming up to Coons and Dietrich. And next at bat will be Lauren Ho for the Wildcats. Wildcats having 1 out and a runner in scoring position and a runner on first. As we mentioned, Coons has walked her last 2 batters. So we will see where this pitch comes in from Coons to Ho. And that first pitch to Ho was called for a strike. So giving Ho an 0-1 count early at her time at the plate.
Looking for that inning-ending double play is Lexi Coons. She struggled to find the strike zone so far here in this inning.
As that last pitch was in for a ball. So it is a 1-1 count here to Ho. Ho is 1-2 on the night. Her first time at bat, she had a strikeout. And then her second time, she was able to get a base hit, and that one was popped up straight back to Olsen. So the Wildcats now have 2 away, with runners still on second and first. Having 1 runner in scoring position would be Mohiahi. And now that brings McHouston to bat. She is also 1-2 in the night against strike. Excuse me, she's 1-1 on the night. And she was hit by a pitch her second time at bat. And that first pitch was in for a ball, giving her a 1-0 lead in the count. She also got an RBI her first time at bat. The only run to come in was courtesy of McHouston back in the second inning. The Wildcats have been able to score 4 more since then, tying the game here. And this pitch was swung on and missed by McHouston, bringing it. She tipped the bat. She tipped the ball with her bat, giving it a 2-1 count here in the bottom of the 5th. Again, Weber State has 2 outs and 2 on, 1 in scoring position.
Coons 1 strike away now from getting out of this inning. No damage done after a pair of walks so far, looking to get out of this one. As As the Lopes have the top of the order, and Cantillo, Reed, and Holland, all who have at least one hit and a couple RBIs, are due up for the Lopes in the 6th inning.
And this pitch from Coons is just outside. So it'll bring it to a full count here for McHouston. McHouston, her last time at bat was hit by the pitch. And now we'll see what this next pitch will be from Coons, which is a grounder, giving the out at second, ending the 5th inning for the Lopes, bringing an end to the Coons hitting for now.
For the Wildcats in the bottom of the 5th, no runs,
They
no
will
hits,
be,
no errors,
the Wildcats
2
will be
runners
leaving
left on base.
2 people on
After
base,
5
and you'll be
complete.
getting
Lopes
more
5.
softball as we come
Wildcats
back
5.
to GCU TV.
Fans
Canyon State Credit Union, a local credit union serving the Valley for over 65 years, can assist you in buying your first home, refinancing your current home, or if you're dreaming of a retirement home. Canyon State Credit Union can provide you with a fast and affordable solution that meets your needs. Let Canyon State Credit Union run the numbers on your dream. Visit canyonstatecu.org or call 623-580-6015 for more information. Canyon State Credit Union, committed to you. We do business in accordance with the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, MLS number 410376.
When my hot water heater failed, she was pregnant, in-laws were coming, a little bit of water, it rocked our world.
I had no idea the amount of damage that water could do.
We called USAA, and they greeted me as they always do. Sergeant Baker, how are you? They were on it. It was unbelievable. Having insurance is something everyone needs, but having USAA, that's a privilege. We're the Bakers, and we're USAA members for life.
USAA. Get your insurance quote today.
And we are back inside the GCU softball stadium as the Lopes come to bat here at the top of the 6th. We have the top of the order for the Lopes, starting with Cantillo, who is 2 for 3 so far on the night. Her last time she got a double sink still in for Weber State. And that pitch was in for a strike, so the count is a 0-1 count here for Cantillo. And that ball was far out, almost in the dirt for Cantillo, bringing it to a 1-1 count here at the top of the 6th for the Lopes. And Cantillo looked to have been hit by that pitch, so she will take her base, allowing the walk-off, the lead-off person to be aboard once again for the Lopes here at the top of the 6th.
When the Lopes get the leadoff runner on base, they tend to do well so far tonight, being able to bring them around, as Jaden Reed has an RBI as she's 2 for 3 rather, excuse me, with 1 hit. Or no, she is 1 for 3 with 2 runs and 1 RBI.
And we now have a meeting here on the rubber with Sink and the rest of the Wildcat team. And looks to be...
Looks like we're going to make a change.
Yep. Had one of the assistant coaches and now the head coach for Weber State coming out. Who's now talking to the umpire. And it looks like we have a new pitcher coming in for Weber State.
Or possibly a new fielder.
Or a new fielder. Yes, we have a new fielder in for Weber State. That would be Annabelle Gutierrez, who is an infielder and a freshman from Gilroy, California.
like she might be coming in from Houston at second base, as we'll get that substitution all squared away.
The Lopes have 1 on and no out with Reed at bat as Cantillo was hit by that last pitch from Sink. Looks like they're just finishing warming up Gutierrez, and things should be squared away soon. And it looks like we got all of that squared away, so we will get back to the action with Reed coming back up to bat for the Lopes. Reed is 1 and 3, as we mentioned, getting her last time up in RBI back in the 4th when the Lopes scored 3 runs at the top of the 4th. Lopes looking to do that again and getting back that lead that they had, as they are still tied 5-5 with the Wildcats. And so Reed will now step back into the batter's box as we got that substitution all squared away. And the first pitch in from Sink is outside for a 1-0 lead for Reed, who has a runner on first in Cantillo and no outs, and is currently ahead of the count. She tipped that one off to the back net, bringing her count to be a 1-1 count. That one almost looked like it could have come back to you, Kyle.
Good thing there's a net there. I wasn't ready for that one.
Always got to be ready. Got to be ready, Kyle.
I'm trying to figure out all of the substitutions that just were made by Weber State, still waiting for that to come through.
And this next pitch that was bunted by Reed down the third baseline was fielded by Moyahu. Reed got out, but it moved Cantillo to second, so the Lopes, let's watch this one more time.
It's a good bunt.
It was a great bunt. Just
a little too strong, but a good bunt.
It was good.
Did her job.
Yeah.
Move Cantillo over.
Move the runner into scoring position, which is what the Lopes need right now to break this tie.
Absolutely. Base hit might score Cantillo from a second base here, as Kaylee Holland looks to drive in her 3rd run of the ball game. She's got 2 RBIs already for GCU.
And that first pitch to Holland was in for a strike, so she's behind the count in 0-1. Having Cantillo now at second, as Reed, as you mentioned, Kyle, did her job and moved that runner into scoring position. Ooh, a big swing on and miss there by Holland. Now behind 0-2 in the count. And that junior from Phoenix, Arizona. Holland has been doing some great work here for the Lopes. I would love to see her get back on base in this inning. And as you mentioned, a base hit could potentially bring in Cantillo from second, giving the Lopes that lead back. And the pitch is way outside from Sink, bringing it to a 1-2 count here for Holland.
Timely hitting here for GCU with 1 out. If Holland can get on base and at least move Cantillo to third, if not be able to bring Cantillo around, as Bishop is up behind her.
That was a off and out, but Holland swung on that pitch, taking her down for the 2nd out of the inning. So now Lily Bishop will be at bat for the Lopes. She's currently 0-3 on the night, looking to get her first hit here in the top of the 6th. 1 runner in scoring position for the Lopes in Cantillo. And this first pitch from Sink was hit and fouled back by Bishop.
Big swing by Lily Bishop on that one. She really wanted that pitch She's had some timely hitting in the past. She can get extra bases. She's got a good, strong, powerful bat that can send that ball over the wall at any given time. She had 4 home runs last season. It's a dangerous hitter, and if she gets on base, Savannah Torville's due up.
And that would be great news for the Lopes, having 2 on for Torville coming up to bat. And that last pitch to Bishop is bringing her count to 1-1. Again, 1 runner in scoring position as the Lopes and the Wildcats are tied 5-5. And thank goodness that nut is there, because that one got a very high tip from Lily Bishop, sending it back into the very top of that net, because I don't think Kyle was ready to catch that one either. So, you know, thank goodness for that net,
That
Kyle.
wasn't even coming at us. That one was way off to the side.
Gotta dive. Dive for the ball, Kyle.
Only if it's coming at us.
Okay. And that was a big swing and miss by Lily Bishop to end the top of the 6th for the Lopes, leaving Cantillo on base for the Lopes at second in scoring position. We now go to the middle of the 6th.
If you are visiting campus this spring, why not stay at the GCU Hotel? Featuring comfortable rooms, a resort-style pool, and the Canyon 49 Grill, it's the perfect place to stay when coming to GCU. Book a room today at gcuhotel.com.
You know what else is at the GCU Hotel, Kyle?
I don't.
There's a GCBC at
Oh,
the
that I
GCU
knew.
Hotel.
That I knew.
So even if you're not on campus, you can still get your fix at GCBC.
Don't forget, you get GCBC at home, too. Use promo code GCUTV25. Get 25% off that order.
Yeah, we're just helping all the way around here tonight, Kyle.
Should get paid.
That-
A little extra money there.
Yeah. Extra money for GCU, because you can do so many things here on this campus. You can stay at the hotel, which is absolutely beautiful. They have their own restaurant and more coffee, because you can never have too much GCBC, Kyle.
Never.
That's where my dining dollars go.
That's good. As long as you eat food, too. They have good pastries. They have pastries.
Coffee is its own food group.
Well, keep telling yourself that one.
I will. And we now have Whiting at bat for the Wildcats. Coons coming back out to pitch.
He had a big 3 RBI bases clearing double. Back in the 4th inning to get this game tied.
And that ball from Coons was just, again, trying to paint the corners and not getting those calls. So it is now a 1-0 count for Whiting. And as you mentioned, Kyle, Whiting is the person who helped give those Wildcats those runs back in the bottom of the 4th, and ended up tying this game at 5, which we still stand at since the 4th. And that was swung on and hit foul by Whiting off into the net on the first base side. So it is now a 1-1 count here for Whiting in the top of the, the bottom of the 6th. And that pitch from Coons looked to be good, but the umpire did not give the call. So it is now a 2-1 for Whiting here. The strike zone has been very small here tonight, and she was able to find it there with that last pitch, bringing the count to 2-2 here on Whiting. Lopes trying to keep that lead-off person off of base here in the bottom of the 6th. And this next pitch from Coons, a little off the plate there, bringing it to a 3-2 count for Whiting. Last time up, Coons walked her first 2 batters that she faced. So hoping to get the first out here in the bottom of the 6th with Whiting. And Whiting knocks that ball foul down the third base side into the corner, leaving it a full count and staying alive here with that last hit. Olsen talking to Coons for a second, giving her teammate that encouragement to keep going and get that first out here in the bottom of the sixth. The score is still tied, and that last one was hit straight back to Coons and then fielded by Bishop to get the first out of the inning.
Good fielding from Lexi Coons right there. Knocking it down, making a good strong throw over to first base. First out, and now it looks like Lexi Coons might be finally settling into a little bit of a groove here. She struggled in those first couple batters, walked three, excuse me, so far. Giving up just the one hit, however. Was a big swing and a miss.
Bringing Petska's count to 0-1.
Take another look right there. Off speed pitcher, fooled her. Good pitch from Lexi Coons.
Good pitch.
Normally, mostly straight fastballs out of Lexi Coons. She throws really hard and really fast, but when she changes it up, you are not ready for it. She does it again. Same spot.
That was a great pitch and a great strike there by Lexi Coons, as you mentioned, walking 3 of her first batters that she faced, now settling in, getting 2 great strikes back-to-back, and that was absolutely just a great pitch there by
Wouldn't be
Lexi
surprised
Coons.
if you see another one here or a fastball. Ooh, fastball just missed upstairs.
Just up high. So now bringing the count to 1-2. Now looks like Petska going to butt, and she swings on that low pitch down by Coons, bringing in the second out for the inning. Now bringing up Saltern and starting back at the top of the order for the Wildcats. And this pitch from Lexi Coons is called a strike again with that changeup. As you mentioned, Kyle, normally throwing just some really good fastballs, but when she does have that changeup, it's really hard to hit and has been, as she's thrown it now, very consistent.
Absolutely, and be on the lookout now if you're Weber State for that off-speed stuff. It's working so far for Lexi Coons. Does it again right there.
That strike, that was a very lovely pitch there from Coons.
Some might say that was dirty. Great pitch from Lexi Coons. That is a great pitch.
Great pitch. This is now an 0-2 count here for Saltern, who's the third person up at bat here for the Wildcats, and tipped that ball. And now Coons getting her first 3 up, 3 down here tonight as we now go into the top of the 7th, and you'll get more softball right here on GCU TV.
Lopes.
We needed one more member on our roster. Streets of New York is proud to announce Grand Canyon University to our winning team. We are now the official pizza of GCU. Go Lopes.
Across the great desert to where the mountains touch the sky. This is Sanderson Ford country, where Arizona's pride. Sanderson Ford country, built on serving you. Sanderson Ford, satisfaction in everything we do. We're Arizona's pride. Sanderson Ford.
Welcome back inside as we look at Lexi's strikeouts that she had in that last inning. Some absolutely beautiful pitches that she threw to get out of the 7th. Excuse me, to get out of the 6th, now in the 7th. And that first hit by Torville was fouled off down the first base side, giving her an 0-1 count here to start the top of the 7th for the Lopes. Torville is 2 for 3, having an RBI back. And now this pitch in from Sink, offside, off the side of the plate, bringing her count to 1-1. Savannah Torville, the sophomore from Whittier, California, 2 for 3 on the night, looking to get some more momentum going for the Lopes. And that pitch again was offside, bringing her count to 2-1 here for the Lopes. Lopes looking to get that leadoff man on base again and see if they can get some momentum to break this tie here at the top of the 7th. And that was very close here. That was very close to Torville. Still called a ball. It is now a 3-1 count for Torville. And see what Singh comes up with for this next pitch. And that being high, giving a lead-off walk, sending Torville to first and bringing up Taylor Olson next for the Lopes.
Taylor Olson.
And the Lopes will have another pinch hitter here, or excuse me, pinch runner here.
Coming in to run for the Lopes, number 15, Christine Bellavia.
And Christine Bellavia, the junior from Tucson, Arizona, is now on first base for the Lopes as a pinch runner. And we have Taylor Olson at bat, who is 0 for 2 on the night. Hoping to get her first hit here of the night. And she fouls that first pitch off, giving herself a 0-1 count with no outs and a runner on first. Olson looking to help give her team back that lead. As we mentioned, Weber State came back in the 4th, scoring off for a bunt there. But now her count being a 1-1. Lopes looking to regain that lead that they lost in the 4th when Weber State sent all 9 of their players to bat, and then bringing around 4 runs, tying the game at 5, and we've been scoreless since. And this last hit from Olson fell down, and now the out at second, but Olson is safe at first. So the Lopes now have 1 on and 1 away here at the top of the 2nd, as that ball hit by Olson, as we look here again, just fell through the cracks between
Lorianne Olson.
And now got that out at second by the shortstop in Gutierrez. But Olson was able to get to first. And now we have Lorianne Olson at bat, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Who whacks that ball fair into the corner of right field, sending the runners to 3rd and 2nd. Lorianne Olson getting a stand-up double here tonight. Let's take a look at that again. Just swings on the first hit that she gets, sending that far into right field. Sending the runners now to 3rd and 2nd. And Lorianne Olson now standing at 2nd with a stand-up double off of her first swing hit that she had. And now we have Weber State head coach talking to the umpire. Looks like it might be the end of the night here for Sink. As yes, so that will be the end of the night for Sink.
18.
And
Coming
the
in to pitch for the Wildcats. Number
Wildcats
18,
will
Mariah
have
Ramirez.
a new pitcher in Mariah Ramirez.
Mariah Ramirez, who pitched a complete game, 7 innings, 2 hit, 1 run game earlier this morning against New Mexico in that Weber State win. Struck out 6 and walked 9. So doesn't give up a lot of hits, but gave up quite a few walks back in the game earlier today. And now with 2 runners on and 1 out, and Kaylee Dietrich up to bat. Weber State's got to be very careful here, or the Lopes are going to jump right back out onto the lead, which is what Kaylee Dietrich is going to look to do with 2 runners in scoring position.
Yeah, Mariah Ramirez, the sophomore right-handed pitcher from La Habra, California. As you mentioned, Kyle, giving up a lot of walks here earlier today, something she's not going to want to do with the Lopes having 2 players in a scoring position and only having 1 out here in the top of the 7th. And Dietrich coming up to bat here, who's a dangerous hitter for the Lopes, looking to actually get her first hit of the night. But as we've mentioned before, 1 swing of the bat can change the momentum anytime here in this game. And the Lopes looking to regain their lead here in the top of the 7th. As we have Dietrich back at plate and the new pitcher in Ramirez for Weber State. And that first pitch from Ramirez is good and in for a strike, and putting Dietrich behind in the count 0-1. So the Lopes are going to look to try and get something going here with 1 out, runners in scoring positions on 2nd and 3rd base. And that pitch from Ramirez is down low, evening out the count at 1-1 here for Dietrich. Dietrich being really smart at what she is going for. She held up her bat there as that ball was down low. And that one was up high, bringing Dietrich ahead of Ramirez in the count 2-1. This game been going on since 5:30, so almost 2 hours, and that last pitch being called a strike for 2-2. Here to Dietrich. Again, as we mentioned, our game starting late as the Stanford-New Mexico game took a little bit longer as Stanford came back to win that game in walk-off fashion, and that last pitch from Ramirez far outside, bringing the count to 3-2 for Dietrich, with 1 out and 2 on, and a full count here for Dietrich at the top of the 7th. And that pitch was hit directly straight back by Dietrich. Thank goodness that net is there, Kyle, as we've mentioned before. Kyle is ready to catch that ball again if need be. Putting out that ball from Dietrich. We get it, Kyle. We get that you're ready. That ball into Dietrich. So we now, again, have a full count as she fouled that last one back. Again, fouling this one back as well. And it was tipped off back and to the right. Dietrich fighting and staying alive here at this pitch, being the first hitter that Ramirez is facing. And still have 2 runners on, both in scoring position. So a base hit here should at least score 1, if not 2 runs. And that was called a strike from the umpire. So Dietrich went out on that last pitch. And so the Lopes now have 2 outs and 2 on. As Cavarubio is at bat. We mentioned she gets a strike here for her first pitch from Ramirez. We mentioned her first pitch in her collegiate career was a great hit. She's gone 2 for 3 here tonight. And it looks like she wasn't able to fully check her swing, so she is now down in the count 0-2, just unable to hold up a little bit more there. So Dietrich is now, Cavarubio is now down 0-2 and swung on that and foul tipped it back into the net, keeping herself alive here in the 0-2 count. Still 2 on and 2 away here for the Lopes. We have Taylor Olson and Lori Ann Olson on base here for the Lopes. And that last pitch was a ball from Ramirez, bringing the count to 1-2 for Cavarubio. And Cavarubio knocked that out of the, hit it, and then it looked like it was knocked out of the glove of Ho. So her being able to stay alive again as we look at this last pitch one more time here. And that last ball was in the dirt, so it now is a 2-2 count for Cavarubio. Cavarubio again in her first game in her collegiate career, having a really good night for herself. Her first 2 hits came within, and she swings on that, and it goes over the net. Kyle was not ready for that. It went over the stadium, and it looked like it went out completely outside of the stadium, over the net.
Thank you for your help.
But within her first 2 times at bat with 3 pitches, she had 2 hits in her collegiate career. And now this next pitch in for Carubio was down in the dirt, bringing it to a full count. Again, having runners in the corner, and Carubio being able to work herself back from an 0-2 count. We'll see what Ramirez gives her here in this full count with 2 outs. And that was outside, allowing Carubio to get to first base and having the bases loaded for Cantillo coming up tonight. As we see that was just slightly out of the strike zone there from Ramirez, as we see in that replay. And now Cantillo has the bases loaded with 2 out and bases loaded with 2 outs, and Cantillo up at bat for the Lopes, being 2 for 3 on the night in this first game of the doubleheader for the Lopes. Lopes looking to get just a base hit here as Cantillo fouls that one back for a 0-1 start for her time at base tonight in the top of the 7th. As we've mentioned, the Lopes are the designated home team here tonight, and Weber State is the designated, the Lopes are the designated away team, pitching in the top, and that pitch to Cantillo is called a strike. So she's now down to her last strike and behind 0-2 in the count. And this next pitch from Ramirez is swung on and tapped foul by Cantillo, keeping herself alive here. Hoping to get at least one base hit here to bring at least one of the runners in, as again we have a bases loaded for the Lopes with 2 out here in the top of the 7th with a tied score of 5-5. And that pitch was outside. So it is now, it is now a 1-2 count. And let's take another look at that pitch. And Cantillo getting set for this next pitch. And she tipped that ball, keeping herself alive at this at bat. Trying to help her team score at least one more run here in the top of the 7th. And try and get that lead back here tonight that they lost in the 4th, as they are now tied 5-5 and have been since the 4th inning. And she taps that ball, and the Lopes get the go-ahead run and now are up 6-5 as that ball was unable to be grounded. That Cantillo hit. Ramirez had a tough time trying to grab that ball, and we'll take another look at that here. Just the slightest tap, and it's able to stay fair. Ramirez just misses the ball, unable to get the out at first or at home. So the Lopes now take the lead again as 6-1. Still 2 out with Reed back up to bat, and the Lopes still have the bases loaded, and that first pitch in from Ramirez is down and out for a 1-0 count to Ramirez. Reed, the freshman, who fouls that one back. Kyle was ready to catch it if need be. So she's now 1-1 in the count with a 2 out and bases loaded for the Lopes. Again, the Lopes just returning to their lead 6-5 here in the top of the 7th. Reed taking a big hack at that. So now a 1-2 count for Reed. Reed hitting that foul down the third base side up into the fence. Staying alive here at that at-bat with her count still being 1-2 here in the top of the 2nd. Having the bases loaded with Olsen, Carubio, and Cantillo, and Reed hits that high back to left field, giving the Lopes their 3rd out for the top of the 7th, leaving 3 people on base as we now go to the middle of the 7th.
Well, we've had great softball action so far to start the weekend. You can continue to tune into the GCU Kickoff Tournament all weekend long right here on GCU TV. As the Lopes last night played, Stanford fell to them in 8 innings. New Mexico and Weber State kicked off the morning here at the GCU Softball Stadium. So Weber State beat New Mexico in that one, and then New Mexico and Stanford played the game right before us that had Stanford down 5-0 with about 2 innings left to play, coming back to win it in the bottom of the 7th on a walk-off bloop single out to right field. And then the Lopes are going to get set to play Stanford approximately 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one, as the Lopes just took the lead 6-5 thanks to a Brooke Cantillo single down the line at first. Beat out the throw from Ramirez that brought around Taylor Olsen. And the Lopes have been able to get the bat on the ball. 11 hits total tonight. And now Lexi Coons in line for the win.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Kyle, we will be back half an hour after the ending of this game for the second game of this doubleheader for the Lopes. And the first batter up for Weber State in this inning is Hawker. She's currently 0 for 3 on the night. Lexi Coons back into pitch, and that first pitch was tipped by Hawker, putting her behind in the count 0-1 to start off the bottom of the 7th for the Wildcats. Wildcats need to get 1 run back in it to tie the game as the Lopes just regained their lead back in the top of the 7th. That last pitch coming in as a strike. Lexi Coons seemed to have settled in after walking 3 of the first batters that she faced. That pitch coming in a little high, moving the count to 1 ball and 2 strikes to Hawker. Hawker, the senior from Bountiful, Utah, who hits that out to Torville, and their Bishop was not able to stay on the bag, so Hawker is safe at first. So the Wildcats, we will take a look at this. The Wildcats now have 1 on, and that hit was right to Torville, and just that throw to Bishop was a little off, so she wasn't able to stay on the bag, giving Hawker allowing Hawker to be the leadoff hitter for the inning. Hawker now being on first base with Gutierrez at bat. This is her first time at bat on the night. And the first pitch from Coons is a strike, so putting her behind the count 0-1 here in the bottom of the 7th. No outs here for the Wildcats. With a runner on first base. And she pops that one up, and it was an amazing catch by Olsen. Just a bunt that was popped up, an absolutely amazing play. Olsen running in to get that. We had Olsen, Tetrick, and Coons all run up to catch that ball, and we'll take another look at that. That bunt just popped up high. Olsen able to run in from third and make that play, giving the first out of the inning for the Wildcats. And that pitch was called a ball for Miohi. Miohi at bat. That first was called a strike. So it is now a 1-1 count for Miohi.
Now you can tell Lexi Coons really settled into this softball game right now, really starting to deal some strikes, some good hard pitching from her. It seems as her innings get moving, she starts to throw a little bit harder. And another strike in there from Lexi Coons.
Now a 1-2 count. The Wildcats with a runner on first and 1 out. Coons looking to get out of this game to go into the second game of the night, and that was hit way up for the second out of the inning for the Wildcats. Now I have Faith Hope coming to bat.
Shortstop, Faith Hope.
Wildcats still have 1 on and now 2 away here in the bottom of the 7th. If Coons is definitely settled in after she walked the 3 first batters that she had faced. Ho is back up to hit. She was 1-1 for the night. And that first pitch was in for a ball, so it is a 1-0 count, leading Ho to be ahead in the count with 1 on and 2 away.
Absolutely, Lopes now 1 out away here from a very, very good win against a very good Weber State team. That's that off-speed. That's the first time she's missed with that off-speed pitch tonight.
Yeah, bringing the count to 2-0. As you mentioned, Kyle, a very good Weber State team. Favorited to win the Big Sky again this year and have had absolutely amazing the past few seasons, won it for 4 consecutive years. So this team already beating New Mexico earlier today. So this would be a great first win for the Lopes here tonight before they go into their second game against Stanford. That last pitch was out and away for a 3-0 count now to Faith Ho.
So now a very good hitter's count for Faith Ho, 3-0 here now with 1 runner on and 2 down. So Weber State down to their final out. That's a good pitch right in there on a 3-0.
Strike for Coons. She needed right now to help get her team out of this inning and out of this game to have a 30-minute break before our next game against Stanford tonight. The count is now 3-1.
Much needed 30-minute break.
Much needed 30-minute break. As I mentioned, this game started back at 5:30. It is now 7:58. So we've been playing softball for quite a while, and that last pitch in for before the ball. So walking Ho. So the Wildcats now have a runner in scoring position and on first. So the winning run is now on first base, and the tying run is now at second. That will also now bring up
Lexi Coons, Faith Ho has walked 3 times. All 3 of those walks coming in her last 3 at-bats. And of course, Lauren Ho up now. She is 1 for 3 with a run scored.
And that pitch from Coons is outside. Again, giving now Lauren Ho the 1-0 lead in the count. And tying run is on second. Winning run is on first here with Ho. And Amicone is out there with, talking to the umpire, and now have Dietrich is talking with Coons. So we will see what is now going on.
I think they're going to make Lauren Ho change her bat. That's what it looked like.
Yep.
And now we'll get a circle visit from the pitching coach here for GCU just to talk things over with Lexi Coons. Or a 1-0 count, excuse me. 2 down, 2 on.
Will host the Cardinal of Stanford University.
So Lexi Coons now in line for the win. Lopes 11 hits with 6 runs scored. They left 11 on base, and Weber State 5 runs scored on 5 hits. Both sides have 2 errors and 5 left on base for Weber State. Lexi Coons now up to an even 3 innings pitched, allowing 1 hit, 4 walks, and 2 Ks for her.
So we'll see what pitch comes from Lexi Coons after that circle visit. Lauren Ho back at home plate to hit. Again, the tying run at second and the winning run at first for the Wildcats have 2 outs, and that hit is down the middle, and the tying run scored in Hawker, getting that tying run for the Wildcats. So the Wildcats now have a runner, the winning run at second, and the go-ahead run at first.
Just a beautiful swing.
A great hit there from Lauren Ho.
Cava Rubio just couldn't quite get it in time. It was a good throw.
Just not as fast as the Lopes would have liked it to get that final out and record that win. and give them a little bit more rest before they have to play the Cardinals again. And that pitch from Coons coming in as a ball. From McHouston, or for McHouston, excuse me, now back, just 1 and 2 on the night. Coons' pitch to McHouston is down, and it was lost by Dietrich for a second, but not enough to advance the runners. The game now tied 6-6 on that last hit from Ho, bringing around Hawker to tie this game here in the bottom of the 7th inning for the Wildcats. And that pitch to McHouston was fouled to the third base side, bringing it to a 2-1 count. Again, the Wildcats have 2 outs and 2 on, the winning run on second. And that hit was straight down the left base side. And the winning run will score, and that will end the game for the Lopes. And Weber State will win their second game today, handing the Lopes an 8-6 loss. Here in the bottom of the 7th, the Lopes had an absolutely amazing day, unable to get their first win yet here tonight. But we have one more game here for the Lopes in 30 minutes.
The final score of tonight's contest, Weber State Wildcats 7, Grand Canyon
Yeah,
University
good game
Antelope
from
6.
both sides all the way around. GCU jumped out early to that 5-1 lead, and then the bottom of the 4th inning really brought it around for Weber State. They dropped 4 to tie the game, and then both sides went scoreless the next 2 innings. Lopes picked up a run with 2 outs in the top half of this 7th inning, and then the error from Savannah Torville led to the first base runner of the game, or of the inning, excuse me, for Weber State, and then they brought her around to tie the game, and then a nice double down the line for the walk-off for McHouston. So Weber State will walk away today 2-0 on the GCU kickoff tournament. Lopes fall to 0-2, but we got more softball with Stanford coming up.
We've got more softball in 30 minutes with the Stanford Cardinals. So stick around and see the Lopes take on Stanford in 30 minutes right here on GCU TV. And don't forget to follow Grand Canyon University on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/GCU. I'm Cheyenne Rose alongside Kyle Borg, and we hope to see you again in 30 minutes for the second of this doubleheader for GCU, where they will take on the Stanford Cardinals and hope to get their win and a little bit of revenge from their loss last night in extra innings, as the Lopes did lose in a 3-0, and we'll see you next time in 30 minutes right here on GCU TV.